Vote centers have taken another step towards reality in Du Bois County. We'll break that down. Plus, the city of Huntingburg is preparing for upgrades. We'll tell you what exactly they're targeting. And Janet Schnell with the Du Bois County Substance Abuse Council is our guest tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin this evening with vote centers taking another step towards becoming reality for voters in Du Bois County. Last night, a bipartisan study committee heard from Jeremy Burton of Election Systems and Software concerning poll books. ES&S has a presence in several other Indiana counties, including Johnson County, which is in central Indiana, and Vanderburgh County. Burton also stated that ES&S equipment is utilized in every county of both the state of Georgia and the whole state of Maryland. Now, currently, Du Bois County is looking into a system of 7 vote centers, which would replace the current network of voting precincts. Du Bois County Clerk Bridget Jarboe told the committee that the county would likely be able to get by with 15 electronic poll books for the centers, according to suggestions that were made by poll book companies. Originally, the county thought they would need 20 of the poll books to proceed with the vote centers. Jarboe says other counties with similar populations to Du Bois County have gotten by with fewer poll books.
We were talking with one of the demo companies that came in for the e-poll books and comparing us to other counties that are similar in size, what they're using, what they have, and we did find out that the number they're suggesting is lower than what we had originally thought we would need. So we're going to go with what a company recommends since they're good at this.
Voter turnout in Du Bois County for recent elections was also a topic during last night's committee meeting. Jarboe told the committee that in the most recent presidential election last year, just under 12,900 people voted on Election Day all across the county, and more than 5,600 of those were done by mail and absentee ballots. Jarboe says she is hopeful that trimming down from many precincts to 7 voting centers will have a positive impact.
We would like to see a larger turnout of the voters. We're hoping this will be a little more convenient for people, that they don't have to turn around and try to find where their polling place is. This way they can just walk in, pick one of the 7 and vote.
As discussions on the voting centers have advanced, more people are getting on board with the idea, including committee member and County Council President Greg Kendall. Kendall says from his standpoint, it was uncertainty about being able to serve everyone that led him to initially be skeptical.
When we started this process, I had to make sure that we had enough voting centers. When we first started out, they were talking about 3 or 4 for Du Bois County, and I didn't think that was near enough. I wanted places like Birdseye and Holland and Du Bois to be having a vote center in all these places, so that we had, because there's quite a few voters in those areas, and those people would have had to drive a whole lot farther to actually get to a voting center. So I wanted things to be convenient for the voter and the taxpayer.
Kendall says the increase to 7 vote centers is what sold him on the plan. He says cost effectiveness is also important in a potential switch.
We don't want it to cost any more money than what it costs now. Hopefully it'll actually save us money. We want it to be more convenient for the people, and when they get someplace to vote, they will have the convenience, and it'll be easier for them to vote.
Concerns about voter fraud were also raised last night, but Burton assured the committee that with the ES&S system, once someone signs in at one center, they would be signed in at all of the voting centers, thus keeping them from voting more than once. Should someone vote more than once by chance, Burton says it would be able to be reported to the county prosecutor's office as needed. Burton also assured the committee that the poll books would last 10 to 15 years, which would eliminate the need for the county to have to replace them every few years, as would be the case if those books were bought off of a shelf. Now, there is one catch to the poll book idea. The state of Indiana requires that all electronic poll books be certified through a federal process. Burton says his company is one of 4 companies that have applied for their equipment to be certified, but the state has made no decisions yet on who will be certified and likely won't until sometime next month. At the conclusion of last night's meeting, the committee opted to move ahead with holding public hearings on the vote center idea. There will be 4 public hearings over a 2-week span that will take place on Tuesday and Thursday over the 2 weeks. The meetings will take place at each of the 4 high schools across the county and will likely start at 6:30 p.m. Specific dates will be announced at a later time. Results of an autopsy performed yesterday indicate that a Huntingburg man who died while hunting in Jackson County on Wednesday suffered an apparent heart attack. Indiana conservation officers were investigating the death of 45-year-old Jeff Rote, who was deer hunting at the Muscatatuck National Wildlife Refuge when he suffered the attack Wednesday evening. Conservation officers, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, and Jackson County EMS were called to the refuge just before 7 p.m. Officers say Rote, who had been hunting separately, was expected to meet with a group of hunters, but failed to return to their vehicle. Rote was unresponsive when he was located by his friends. He was taken from the woods by EMS personnel, and the autopsy was performed at Schneck Memorial Hospital, where it was determined that Rote died from cardiac arrest, according to the Jackson County Coroner's Office. One local city is set to replace telecommunications equipment in the not-so-distant future. Last night, the Huntingburg City Council approved a proposal from Matrix Integration to improve telecommunications for City Hall. This will allow the city workers to forward calls to other buildings. It would set up call forwarding as well so that the right people can be reached in the event of an emergency and further the city's goal to improve on communications among government. Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner says the changes would also allow for better customer service.
The key would be that from a customer standpoint to a citizen or someone trying to contact the city, one of our big difficulty has been that if you would call City Hall, for an example, if we needed to transfer a call to another department, the street department or utility department, you would physically have to hang up and call another number. As simple as that sounds, this system will cross that hurdle quickly, but also provide all types of enhancements.
Spinner says the process to replace the system began more than 2 years ago. He says it started out as a look into the phone system, but it turned into a much bigger project geared towards overall telecommunications. In other business last night, the council approved proposals to restructure rates for gas and electricity. With the new proposal, the tracking number in the rates has been changed to a 0, while the base rate will be changed in relation to current market prices for gas and electricity. Spinner says the changes were necessary to more accurately reflect the current market.
What these adjustments do are really revenue neutral to the customer and to the utility itself. We're not getting any more money because of these changes, and nor is the customer paying any more money. It's just an adjustment to the bill so it more accurately reflects the market costs of both gas and electric. So they'll see some change on your bill, but the bottom line will not change.
Spinner says rates are based on a market price plus the base rate, and he says the rates have not been changed since roughly 2006. One Pike County Fire Department could have a few less firefighters as several of them have not completed mandatory training. At a recent meeting of the Winslow Town Council, Winslow Fire Department members Steve Nelson and Bart Stemley stated that several of their co-workers had not yet completed their mandatory training and several of them refused to do it. Nelson and Stemley also asked for the council's support on a measure to get the firefighters trained. Under that new measure, any member of the Winslow Fire Department that hasn't had their mandated training yet would be suspended from all activities with the department until they received their training. Nelson says the training would have to be complete before a member of the department would be able to fight fires. He says anyone that hasn't signed up for the classes should turn in their equipment, and anyone that has should keep their equipment, and they can fight fires again once their training is complete. Stemley told the council that only 7 or 8 members of the department had done the mandated training. He says the state has enforced the training codes for about a decade and Winslow hasn't been checked, though the state could show up any day and pull records. Stemley says that would be enough to have the department in a lot of trouble. The Winslow Town Council ultimately approved the suspension measure and drafted a letter of support for it at the request of Stemley and Nelson. The letter will be done in time for the next meeting, which is coming up this upcoming Monday. Finally this evening, a Spencer County community has received a prestigious national recognition. CNN has recognized the town of Santa Claus as one of the 10 most Christmassy destinations on the planet for this year's holiday season. Spencer County Visitors Bureau Executive Director Melissa Brockman says the honor is an early Christmas present for the town to be included on the list. She says the town is a great place to visit, especially during the holiday season. Other cities on the list are Barcelona, Spain, New York City, Nuremberg, Germany, Quebec City, Canada, Reykjavik, Iceland, San Miguel de Allende in Mexico, Strasbourg, France, and Valkenburg in the Netherlands. Now, recognition for the holiday spirit is not new to the town of Santa Claus. The town was named a top Christmas destination by Forbes magazine back in 2011 and Hotwire.com just last year. The town is also home to nationally known attractions such as Holiday World and Splash and Safari and Lake Rudolph Campground and RV Resort. The town hosts a celebration of family fun on the first 3 weekends of the month of December, and those events include a traditional Christmas dinner with Santa, which is held at Santa's Lodge, writing a letter to Santa at the Santa Claus Museum and Village, chestnuts roasting on an open fire at Santa's Candy Castle, and more. For more information about the Santa Claus Christmas celebration and any lodging specials, you can call 888-444-9252, or you can go to santaclausind.org/Christmas. Coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Gooksell, and Inform featuring Janet Schnell with the DuBois County Substance Abuse Council. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.